Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gearhead 426 channel. Today I'm going to go ahead and talk about junkyard upgrades for your ALH Volkswagen and also a BEW intake on an ALH. So let's go ahead and get started. At the moment I have my nice DeWalt fan cooling off my motor so that I can work on it a lot easier. But we're going to go ahead and start with junkyard upgrades, specifically here in the United States, because in Europe they have a lot more nicer parts than we do. We're going to go ahead and start off with free to the most expensive out of a junkyard. First free thing that you could do is right here, your air box. I do not know if all the other cars have this issue. I'm assuming they do because all Volkswagens are basically the damn same. There is a snorkel that comes off of this air box right on the other side of it, and it does this weird little loop thing inside of the fender. Remove all of that. You leave a nice hole at the back of this air box that you can fit your whole fist through, which is a whole lot better than what was there, which was maybe about that big around at most, because it really necked it down a lot. Another free mod, and this is really only a free mod if you have VCDS, is right here. You could go ahead and change your injection quantity. 5 is like 4.5 to 5 is where you want to be to really lean out the motor, get it running really nice so it doesn't affect like your fuel economy and power and all that. But if you want it a little bit more spicy, you could go ahead and move it up to 3, or even, you know, even less than that, down to like 2.5. You will smoke a little bit out the back. Your fuel economy will diminish, but you will get more power. I'm running at about 4 because I want to keep my fuel economy at the moment. Another great free mod that you could do is gut it, because that will definitely improve your fuel economy and your well, it won't improve your horsepower, but your car will be significantly lighter. So just go ahead and gut it. I do not have a passenger seat because there's no sense in it. In all honesty, I'm surprised I've even kept the carpet in here for now. I do want to go to vinyl because I use this as a parts grabbing vehicle. So that'd be kind of nice, so that, you know, in the days that it gets nasty in here, I can just hose it out. So that's another thing you could do, lose a whole bunch of weight, and trust me, it's probably the best mod that I have done to this thing. So while I'm in here, I'll go ahead and show you the next junkyard upgrade that you can do, and that is the fuel pump. More specifically, the lift pump. This is an ALH, and everybody knows on an ALH, it does not have a lift pump, but the BEWs do. If you go to any BEW car that is a 2004 or 2005, the fuel pump will bolt right in. And like everything goes right together. The only thing you have to do is run your own wiring. So for the fuel level sensor, those wires just, you know, just connect them, not a big deal. Then you come over here, you're gonna have to attach your own ground wire for the pump, which is what I have done right here. And then you have this little wire. This is your hot wire. It's what will trigger the pump on and off. And I have it going all the way into the vehicle. So right here is where my fuel pump wire comes out. And then I have it hooked up to this relay right in here, which is also grounded and whatnot. And it's getting power from our fuse block through a fuse. In fact, I went with a 15 amp fuse because that is what Volkswagen had on that pump when it was in the original car, so we're gonna keep it that way. And to trigger the fuel pump on and off, you hook it up to your fuel cutoff solenoid on your injection pump. That will turn the pump on and off for you. It's worked great. I have noticed a little bit more power on the top end, which is awesome. And whenever you go to do fuel filter changes, you don't have to fill up the fuel filter and do, you know, all the bleeding procedures and whatnot. You could just slap a dry filter there. They just turn the key on and off a couple of times, and it will pump everything all the way through, and then it will literally fire up like that. Another junkyard mod, and this really depends where you go, because you can't really get this one in a junkyard, unfortunately, at least not here in the United States. PD150 intake manifold. So you can get them on eBay for about 150 bucks with a race pipe, which I will plan on going to a race pipe at some point. Great mod, definitely. You can tell the engine runs a whole lot smoother because each cylinder is getting an equal amount of air. So that's a great upgrade. Highly recommend it. I actually have a video on the install of that. Before I forget, there is actually one kind of free mod if you have a welder and if you have some spare pipe running around and possibly even a hole saw. And that is straight pipe. So this is the cheapest, shittiest straight pipe that you could possibly go with. As you see, I literally just cut a hole in the back of my car and just stuck it out. All I did, because I had this stuff laying around, is cut the muffler off, and then I cut that thing that goes per by the engine off, welded in a piece of pipe, and there we go, straight pipe. In all honesty, it needs to be a 3-inch. I will get to building my own pipe, like my own straight pipe for it eventually. Right now though, this is what we're working with. It does free up a little bit of ponies. You definitely see it that the turbo lights up a little bit quicker now, and feel it on the top end a little bit more. Plus it sounds cool. The last junkyard mod before the BEW intake that we were about to do is this guy. This is an 11mm fuel pump. I've got this fuel pump out of a junkyard for about $45 to $50. Somewhere in there, I might have paid $60 for it. I don't know. You can pick them up for $100. If you go to eBay, expect to dish out like $300 to $400 for them though. The 11mm fuel pumps are only found on the automatic cars, not on the manual cars. I have a manual. I had a 10mm in here. This 11mm pump, oh yeah, big difference. There's a lot more low end and it revs way out now. Before, this engine would fall completely on its face after about $3.5 grand. Now it will take me all the way to $4.5, and it doesn't fall on its face at all. You could definitely tell it's getting a lot more fuel. I think I've actually gotten slightly better fuel economy because of the higher injection pressures that's coming out of this fuel pump due to the fact that it's an 11mm plunger and not a 10mm plunger, which means I'm getting better fuel atomization. So a much better even burn, much cleaner burn, and a little bit more power. So definitely highly recommend that guy. But now that leads us up to what we are doing today, which is this boy. This is a BEW intake. Now, I have not seen anywhere on the internet where anybody talks about installing one of these, and I looked at it and it might just fit. Now, I got this one for free. I have absolutely no idea how much they cost. The reason why I got that one for free is because my family has an orange Beetle, or used to have an orange Beetle. My mom sold it to a friend. Friend blew up the clutch. I fixed the clutch, then they blew up the engine. My cousin was borrowing this vehicle for about 6 months because he wanted to learn how to drive a stick, and you know, he's 16, figure may as well teach him, try to get as many young people as we can into a manual. Well, he really missed the Beetle, and I told him, hey, there's this orange Beetle. He remembers it, he's ridden in it before. It's a BEW and also a stick. It had a really bad rod knock, and well, he managed to get it for really cheap. We threw another motor in it. The old motor is right in here. It's kind of dark in here, but we got the old motor right here. It's got a bad rod knock. I will be doing a teardown video of that one because the last teardown video I did of a Volkswagen diesel engine was actually my highest viewed video, so we're going to do one of a BEW because we got one of an ALH. But with that being said, that came on that motor. Well, not that motor, but the motor we put in. This motor came out of a Beetle. The other motor came out of a Golf and went into a Beetle. Now we're gonna go ahead and see if that one will even fit because it's off of a Golf. I looked at them, they look pretty damn the same to me, so it should fit into a Beetle. Either way, if that Golf one fits into a Beetle, then that means they're all the same, and you don't have to worry if it's a Beetle or a Golf, a Jetta, Passat, doesn't matter, they will all fit. The only issue that I know for a fact I'm going to have is our little accordion pipe right here. It's gonna have to get smushed because that pipe will probably end right about there. It's a little bit longer than this one, which is fine. In all honesty, what I need to do is go back to the junkyard, find another BEW, and get this pipe so that it fits a little bit better. But we won't worry about that today. Today, we're just gonna go ahead and install it. To make this a whole lot easier for me and for the camera to see, because this honestly isn't that bad of a job. It should be very quick. We're gonna take our cowl off because this is a Beetle. Take off this piece of rubber trim. You're gonna want to pop off these caps on your windshield wipers. This is obviously just Beetle stuff. 13mm. Now I completely understand how a lot of people like to get a windshield wiper puller to get this off, but I'm going to show you guys a little bit of trick that I've been using for years and it has never let me down. So doesn't want to come off, just go right here to the end. Every time. See? This one is on there. Every time. All right, now this plastic piece will just come right off. And I need to get my vacuum to vacuum all that out. Yay. So we got 3 10mm. We got one here, and the last one right here. Now this guy should just come right out. Of course, there's a bunch of stuff attached to it that I forgot about. Okay, so there's more 10 millimeters you got to take off. So there's actually 5 10 millimeters. My bad. There we go. We now have significantly more room to work. I'm gonna get that vacuum back out and clean up a little bit more. I highly recommend buying one of these. I've talked about them before on my channel. This is a Mayhew one. It is a snap-on, but it's Mayhew. Mayhew makes the tool. Snap-on throws their own name on it. You buy the snap-on one for 200 bucks, or you could buy this one for 60 bucks. And what I really like about these, because inevitably these will break or the cable will snap. It just happens over time. This is replaceable. Like, you could still keep this whole section, because this section will be fine, but these will unclip and you can replace it for 30 bucks. Way better than what I was doing, which is buying the OEM ones, which is the best I could find cheap for 30 bucks. Yeah, I kind of hate break. I broke a lot of them. I should have just bought one of these, and this one's already outlived them by a lot. So I recommend buying one of these. If you've never taken out your air box, I'd be surprised, but it's just 2 10 millimeters. All right, so what I was talking about, that is basically how you make a little bit of a cold air intake. Looks like I really need to clean my filter. I should probably get a new filter, but this is pretty much how you get a cold air intake. Right here, there's a snorkel that goes all the way in. Just remove all of that, take that grommet out. Boom, you got yourself a little bit of a bigger hole to breathe through. Realistically, with these engines, fuel is not the problem with them initially. It's trying to get them to breathe. Once you get them to breathe really well, then you can start adding fuel. So yeah, I really need to replace that air filter there. It looks pretty nasty. That's my fault. But for now, we're not going to worry about it. Plug that guy, unplug this guy. Highly recommend one of these. They're a pain in the butt to get. It's Karma TDI Special. It's called the Puck. It helps a lot with keeping oil out of your intake. Now the only thing that's holding this intake on is 2 10 millimeters and 1 clamp, which we got to save that clamp because I lost the other one. That's 1 bolt, and the other one is right down here. All right, now I just need to jack the car up a little bit so I can get underneath there with my handy dandy remote hose clamp tool and remove the hose clamp that's on the turbo, and that should come right out the top. Okay. That wasn't hard at all. It looks like I broke a clip off, but that's okay. Now that we have both of these right here, you tell me which one flows more air. That one or that one? Because I'm pretty sure it's this one. I mean, even in the pancake section, like, this one flows a whole lot more air, which is why we're using it. Go ahead and chuck that guy off to the side. I need to put the boot and everything on there. Alright, the GoPro decided to die, but I caught it right away for once. Went ahead, put all of our clamps off. I have them facing to the back of the vehicle, so they're easy to reach and access underneath. Let's go ahead and try to snake this thing in there because it is much bigger than that one. And it should fit. Should fit. All right, we're on the turbo. We can go drop the car back down. Make it a little bit easier for us to work on it. Now it looks like it wants to bolt up in different locations. The bottom one, unfortunately, is not going to bolt up to anything. But thankfully, and that's mostly because we have a PD150 intake manifold, thankfully we have a little bolt hole right here with a bracket that is broken and doesn't even work anymore, so we're going to get rid of it anyways. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me go ahead and clip all my hoses back in there because we don't want anything rubbing anywhere it shouldn't be. Now the fun part is going to be getting this to shrink down to that, which I'll be honest, I think that's pretty feasible. Yeah, I think that's quite feasible. Let's see what we can do. Well, that wasn't the most painful experience. This is going to be the interesting part, to see if this will still fit in here. I think it will. Some trimming might be necessary though. Oh, we have more than enough room. See, one of the things that I was worried about is this new intake rubbing on top of here, making a god-awful noise, which I would then have to trim it to fix. But no, it fits right into place. There you go for the most part, guys. If it fits on a Beetle ALH, then it will fit on all the ALHs. I'm going to turn this camera off before it gets too wet. Take this baby out for a test drive, take it home, and let you guys know what I think. Alright, so it's been probably about 2 or 3 weeks since I have installed this intake, and I did actually go out and get the correct accordion pipe from a BEW. The other one was snaking around a little bit, but got this one in, which, you know, better airflow, real good. And this is kind of like my temporary fix for the PCV hose. I'm probably going to get rid of that PCV heater because it's not neat. I don't even know why that's on here. My review of it and how I feel about it, a lot more top end. Holy crap, so much more top end. You don't notice anything at all on the bottom end except for the fact that the turbo spools up a whole lot quicker, but way more top end. Highly recommend this. You're probably going to spend about $25 to $35 in like a pull apart kind of place to get one of these intakes. It's worth it. Just do it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Stopping by for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all in the next one.